All right. Sweet potatoes or mashed potatoes?
Ooh,
Yeah.
sweet potatoes.
Okay, thank you. My kind of guy. Favorite color?
Pink.
Pink? Wow, really?
Yes,
I
sir.
didn't see that coming, but I like it. Now, let's say I'm a music guy, okay? So if I'm riding with you in the car right now, what you jamming? What you listening to?
Oh, right now I've been listening to a lot of Rex Orange County. Been getting back on my Kendrick grind. I've been slacking.
Yeah, and he needs to come on back out with something, by the way.
He does.
I'm ready.
He does. I've been on that Lil Baby. You know, he's hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's hot right now.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
But I also really love A$AP Rocky.
For sure. And he's been a staple in the game for a few years. Okay. Now, what would you say is a hidden talent of yours? You know, something that you got in your bag that folks might not know just by looking.
Pretty good songwriter.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How far back does that go? How long you been in that space?
I started probably about a year ago. I was listening to Graduation, and I was like,
Oh,
I don't know,
Kanye.
Kanye's one of the goats, but like I can do it.
Yeah.
Just started.
I like that, man. It's got to start from somewhere, right?
Right.
Last, what would you say your main hobby is?
Writing.
Writing. Yeah. All right. Now we got the randoms out the way. Boom. Welcome to the show, my man. Okay, so I'm taking a look at a lot of the work that you sent to me, man, and I was quite flattered and fascinated, man. And you are what, about 21, 22?
20. I turned 20 in February.
And 20 in February. Congrats on that.
Thank
But give me the backstory, man. Where you from? Where's your hometown? How was it growing up, man? Because you're a few years removed from being a teenager, man.
Right. Born and raised in Tulsa, north side of Tulsa. Shout out north side.
For sure.
Wherever you are.
That's right. We need that.
Grew up, went to, my parents made sure that I was in good school, got good education. I went to a school called Augustine Christian Academy, and that definitely like shaped a lot of who I am today.
Right.
In terms of like loving education and like loving intellect
Mm-hmm.
and expression.
That's big.
And growing up, of course, I always loved basketball.
Yeah, man. It's not on you. It's in you.
Right. It's in me. So, growing up, played a lot of basketball out North Tulsa for my dad. Started
Getting it going.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I can tell you, because I met your dad some years ago. It was in the basketball space. And one thing I noticed is that he's fiery. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of vigor, a lot of energy and things like that. And so you played for your dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was that, man? And let me tell you why I asked that. I've always been told by fathers themselves they're either too hard on their own or they're not hard enough on them. So how was it playing for your dad? How was he?
When I was young, when you're a little kid,
Yeah.
right, you don't want your dad to yell at you.
That's right.
But as soon as I got it that he's not yelling at me, he's coaching me, and he's not my dad right now, he's my coach.
Mm.
Then it was good. And then as I got older, I started to find that balance between like in a game, when is it good to have like a father-son type of dialogue in a game, or when is it good like player-coach?
Right. Did you
and
call
so
him dad the whole time, or did you just get to where you started calling him coach?
He's coached me.
There you go. Okay. Is that something you chose to do, or did he make you? Did he say, "Hey, don't call me dad, call me coach"?
It's just something I do because it's just it's just
It's one of them things.
for cohesion.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And then the easiest card to play for, I guess, a teammate of yours would be to say, "Oh man, that's coach's son. Blah blah blah.
Right.
Blah. He's getting this preferential treatment." Did you ever go through some moments where you felt like he was being harder on you than he was some of your other teammates?
Yeah, definitely. He definitely holds me to like a higher standard as far as IQ goes.
Sure.
So if I ever make a basketball mistake,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm definitely held to a higher standard as somebody else because he has me around the game so much.
I hear that. Did you take exception to it, or you understood it pretty early?
Oh, I definitely understood it.
There you go. There you go. You said something else that was interesting when you talked about your educational experience. All right, I always noticed that y'all had a lot of diversity on your basketball teams. So going to school, like you did, was it with a sort of a different demographic or a different crowd than your teammates and people that you came across in the basketball space? And if so, did it help that you had the best of both worlds?
100%.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think it's important to be able to communicate. I think words are like the most important thing that separates humans from anyone else on the
Yeah.
planet.
That's a fact.
And so to be able to like know how to use your words differently with different people to get certain responses and a level of comfortability is definitely important. And to know how to interact, like, okay, these people like this, but these people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe maybe it's more open here, and here maybe I need to be a little bit more inward, just to create the best amount of success as far as team chemistry goes.
I like that, man. Balance is the word that jumps out to me based on your description. Just like being able to, I don't think any of us are just one thing. I think we got a lot of layers to us.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can explore those, especially at an early age, like it seems like you figured it out pretty early, I think that's pretty dang good, man. Now, take me through your high school experience, man. What were your high school days like? Because I can remember a lot of adults would say, hey, man, college is going to be the best time of your life. But I was coming right out of a hell of an era in high school, man. I enjoyed it. I'm like, y'all telling me something is going to top this?
Right.
All right. But how was your high school experience?
Well, my first 2 years, I didn't really integrate myself in the schools that I was at. I transferred both years just for different reasons. But when I went to Broken Arrow, that's where I finished high school at.
You got there as a junior?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I finally started to like open up, make more friends, and the basketball was awesome. We were really good those 2 years.
That's true.
Summers were awesome. My teams were always really good. I always had really talented teammates. Won a lot of games.
Sure.
Always had like coaches on my games. Always felt like, man, this is awesome. I really feel like a basketball superstar right now.
Yeah.
So now I'm at a college, and I play intramurals. I definitely still feel like a basketball superstar.
There you go.
But,
Nothing wrong with that.
But it's not as cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, in Broken Arrow, that's the biggest high school in the state of Oklahoma. Like, the largest population. Was there ever like a culture shock type moment? Like, whoa, I'm one of many here, or did you just hit the ground running right out of the gate?
For me, it wasn't really any culture shock because I knew it was gonna be big,
Mm-hmm.
and I had been all over the country seeing like super big schools.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a whole lot to me. But what I thought was weird, that on my graduation day, funny story, I walked in to graduation rehearsal and I saw like 100 people I had never seen before, and I was like, this is not right.
Classmates or
Classmates, like graduating class. I was like, there are like 100 people here I've never seen.
Jesus, if the world is big, you got Broken Arrow big. Lord, I bet that commencement was like 3 or 4 hours long.
Surprisingly, we got it under 3. We got to 2.5.
There you go. They save your applause, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they usually do it.
It's a record. All
right. And now I'm looking at your OSU paraphernalia. Okay. Obviously, that's where you go to school, right?
Yes, sir.
All 4 years. Well, from start to finish, that's where you went right out of high school.
Yes, sir.
Did you always know where you wanted to go to school?
I didn't. Being a basketball player, I always decided I was going to go whoever offered me. But
love that.
When the time came, I had to make some decisions from myself,
mm-hmm.
instead of saying, well, who's going to offer me, because basketball's done for me. Yeah, so now I have to go and I have to think about all these different things. Who's accepted me?
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to do? What do I want to major in? What are the programs like there? What are my basketball opportunities there as far as staying like close to the game?
Right.
So I coached at 18 years old. I was allowed to coach a team at the Oklahoma State team camp, and I met Coach Sutton, and he took a liking to how I was able to like interact with the players and that type of thing. I was able to get them to respond to me, and how I just had good energy and all these things. And he told me that whenever I get on campus to come see him, and I went there, and he told me that so we only have 3 paid managers and all that, but if you want to come and you put in your time, eventually this could be a spot for you, and we think that you'd be a great fit for our program if you want to help. And ever since, no brainer. I was like, go on.
Wow. So set me straight. Was that something that you were looking for, or is it something that just kind of found you?
I definitely wanted to work. I was definitely looking to work with the team.
Right. In some capacity?
Exactly.
I got
But the
you.
opportunity to be manager just fell in my lap.
Man.
Took it, ran with it.
The coaching part is what's fascinating to me because I had a similar experience. I think I was maybe 18 or 19, and I had come back home for the summer, and I was coaching my high school guys that I had just graduated from maybe a year before, so they knew me, I knew them, but it was still something that was a little bit nerve-wracking for me because I'm like, dang, I'm this close to them in age. How do I really get up in them?
Right.
And they look at me differently than just somebody who's their peer. How were you able to do that with those youngsters?
For me, it was you have to pick your spots because
Okay.
if you're that coach that's always yelling at them the whole time, especially for me, a guy who's not playing college basketball, they'll look at me and be like, "You can't play. Why are you yelling at me?"
Right.
So for me, it's kind of like pick your spots, but also them like they came from the same background as me. They know who I am, so there's a respect level there, for sure. So it wasn't too difficult to get them to respond, especially since I work with them almost every day, but up to that point.
There you go. So it was a little bit of a relationship that was already established. I like that. You still have any interest in coaching?
I do. I really like it. I did it again last summer for a little while. I coached my dad's 16U team. That was a blast. I really love it. I really do. It's honestly just like playing chess, but it's just they're constantly moving because it's basketball.
There you go. And especially if you got a group that plays hard,
Exactly.
that's a hard component to coach. If they don't give me that, man, we got to start there.
Right.
So, as a manager, right? As a manager on the OSU men's basketball staff. I'm saying that correctly, right?
Yes, sir.
What do your duties consist of?
Well, I do things like just check, make sure they go to class. Just stand by the door. I see them go in. Cool. Good.
Yeah.
We have training table in the morning. Guys have meals. They have to make weight and do that type of thing. So make sure they do that. I sit there, see who comes in, checks in. Things like guys need a rebound. They call me, hey Tyreek, I'm gonna go shoot. You want to go rebound while I work out? Okay, fine. First year guys, we do laundry. Like it's just there's all the little things that keep the wheels turning without any type of problems that no one wants to do, but they have to get done.
And it sounds like it's a lot of stuff that goes unseen too.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Now, do you have a certain block, so to speak, in terms of from 1 to 5, hypothetically speaking, you got to make yourself available, or are you on call pretty much round the clock?
Pretty much all the time. My phone's always buzzing when I'm at school. Hey, Isaac's going to the gym. Hey, Avery's going to the gym. Hey, we have our class checks that were assigned at certain times. So if I have a class at 9 o'clock, but they have a class at 8 a.m., well, I got to get up and I got to make sure that they go. So pretty much it's just constant.
I love that, man. That's like to me, it sounds like a young man's dream. You know what I mean? You get to just move and be on the fly. Nothing really tying you down.
Yes, sir.
But I got to ask you this. Who polices you? Who holds Tyre accountable?
There are other guys over me, but
okay,
I hold myself accountable.
There you go. Starts with you, brother. Starts with you. Now, has there been one of those moments where, and I don't want you to out anybody, but where somebody tried to get kind of chummy with you and say, man, you know what I mean? Just go on, let me slide here and there. I know I didn't get to class today, man. Don't tell nobody. How does that work? You know what I mean? The honor system, I would suppose, right?
Does my smirk answer your question?
There you go. I love it. I can tell you've dealt with it. I can tell you dealt with it to some degree. But I like that balance. Because at the end of the day, you all are the same age, man.
Yes.
You all are the same age. They may be great at what they do, but you're pretty good at what you do as well. Now, what would you say of your duties? Not one that you hate, but the component of it that you like the least of all of the stuff that you're being asked to do. What's one thing that you could do without?
I'm going to get into the mic for this one.
All right.
Laundry.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to go there.
I don't even like to do my own.
I feel that.
So now I'm doing someone else's.
I feel that.
But it's my boys, so I do it.
Yeah. I do, but it's like,
But it's like,
yeah. Now, is it the act of washing and drying, or is it having to fold it or hang it after it's done?
it's honestly just because I have to put it up after. If I could just like wash it and then be like, all right, it's here in the laundry room, y'all boys come get it.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's even in my own place, in the comfort of my own home, if I didn't have to fold it up, I wouldn't fuss.
Right.
I think I'd much rather do dishes. I mean, I ain't got to fold them up. Now, you sent me, actually your dad did a lot of the articles that you've been writing, man. And how did you get into that space? You know, what orchestrated that? I know you told me that you like writing. Did it stem from that?
It definitely did. I started writing when I was like 9.
Mm-hmm.
I published a book when I was 10.
I had no idea about that.
I was 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So I have like 10 copies of it at my house.
What was the name of the book?
The War for Sundoria, short story, 15 pages.
Wow. Damn, man. And that's something, Pops didn't put that on you. That was just you.
No, sir.
That was a fire that was burning.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, and I wrote down a lot of the headlines or the titles of the pieces that were sent to me. And the one that obviously was hot is the COVID-19.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I don't say hot like it's popping, but it's what we're dealing with. And you wrote one that said it's called The Impact of COVID on Youth Sports. From now, me being a coach, I'm a high school coach, I can tell you how it impacted me, because when the world, like, quote unquote, shut down, it was the first day of the state tournament. And I'm coaching in Millwood, and we're supposed to be playing on that day. So obviously our kids were crushed, and us as a staff, we were upset too, because we felt like we had a pretty good shot at going and getting that gold. But from your vantage point, how has it impacted the youth sports from you being able to look at the landscape from your vantage point?
All right. Well, for me, I just got done playing not very long ago, so I just put myself in like their shoes. Like if it were me, because
Right.
it literally just was.
Sure.
How would I feel? So I see that, and I see they take away like the NCAA live periods, and I'm like, man, like had that been me, I would be crushed, because I know I'm an under recruited guy, or
Sure.
maybe I'm a guy who's on the cusp of moving up a level of my recruiting, or maybe it's going down, and I'm trying to prove people wrong, or
Hell yeah.
anything of that matter, and just the opportunity to the opportunity to be stripped away is crushing.
Yeah, the empathy part is the biggest part, and it's like we don't want to make light of the fact that it is a virus and it has hit people in a big way, but it's like, dang,
Right.
we've been putting in a lot of work here,
Right.
wanting to get it done. Now, what inspires, or I ain't gonna say what inspires, but are you the one that determines what you write, or is somebody saying, hey, look here, Tyre, I need a piece on such and such?
Oh,
You mean,
no.
you're steering the ship?
100%. I come up with the ideas.
Beautiful.
All my dad does is call me and ask me what it is.
Really?
And he's like, oh, well, send it to me.
Boom.
That's it. That's all it is.
Have y'all ever clashed on some of your content that you put out where Pop's like, hey, man, I don't know about this one, and then you sort of have to sell yourself?
No, I really don't. It's just sometimes the title may be a little confusing, because I get kind of wordy with my titles. So he may ask, what does that mean? Maybe we can simplify it so somebody doesn't click on it because they don't understand what I'm trying to get them to look at.
Right. Keeping it short and sweet and simple.
Yes, sir.
I like that one. And then the other one, the value of high-level prep athletes. Okay, now break down that concept to me, because I was really, because value, that's a tough word. Which value is a little bit different from worth. But when we talk about worth, we talk about pro athletes that are making money. But now we're talking about prep athletes at the amateur level. Break that down for me.
Well, it's always been a thing, since the internet has been a thing, and YouTube
True.
especially, and channels like Who Mixtape Ball's Life, those kind of things, that a lot of people lay eyes on these guys that are in high school, and they want to be like those guys. They'll buy something that would have their face on it 100%, because they keep clicking on these videos that have their face on it, and these other guys are making money off of it, but the players aren't.
True.
And there are statistics that have gone out that estimate the value of those players, and some of them are ridiculously high.
Ridiculously high for somebody who's not a pro athlete.
Exactly. And they may never, ever be that value again, because as you move up levels, people get better, and maybe you're not one of those top guys when you move up a level. So you miss out on an opportunity to benefit from your current level.
And from your own likeness, it sounds like.
Exactly, and you may never get a chance to do it again.
Now this is strictly an opinion-based question that I'm gonna ask you, because obviously, with the NCAA, it's been this debate or this argument for the last few years about just that, players being able to monetize from their likeness or on their own likeness, and then you have your purists of the sport that say, no, this is this is amateur athletics. They're not pros, so they shouldn't be able to make money, even if it is them. What's your position on that? Is it as cut and dry to you, or is there some gray area? Me personally, I think just on a basic fundamental level, if somebody's gonna make money off me, it should be me.
Right.
Or at least I should be able to get in on it. But that's me. To that you would say what?
If you look at a billboard with a child who's not a professional actor, did their family still get money from it?
I'm gonna say yes.
Then why shouldn't the player?
You broke it down nice and simple, just like that. All right. What about the one and done action? How you feeling about that, man? Because I'm hearing that they're getting ready to go, and I say getting ready to, maybe within the next year or so. That's what the rumblings are, that they're getting ready to go back on that rule to make it available again. You agree with that?
I think I definitely agree with it, because guys go to college and maybe they don't need to. Maybe they're ready, or maybe they can get drafted and go make money for their family if that's like what their goal is. Which, of course it is, right? Like, of course it is. And sometimes guys go into college because the game is like so different.
Right.
It hurts them.
That's true.
And they were ready before.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then we hate to be pessimists, but it's a realistic thing. Like, you could overstay your welcome someplace, and then you mess around and have a debilitating injury. Exactly. And then that takes your stock from way high to the ground level, and now you're starting from scratch. You may never get it back. Another one of your articles, man. The new era of high school athletes and the contributions of media outlets. I love that, man. And you can set me straight. I'm gonna throw at you what I took from just that title. The contributions of the media outlets is putting more. It puts more of a, not a spotlight, but it puts more attention on you, and you have more avenues to get your work out there. Because I hear coaches all the time say, "Hey, if you're good, they'll find you."
Right.
Which may be true, but sometimes you got to go to where the getting is good. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
To that, you would say,
man, shout out to the media athletes. I feel like it's a lot of guys who are probably in college right now who would not be if it weren't for y'all. So shout out to y'all.
Yeah.
Secondly, they definitely are major drivers in this whole value of high school athletes going up, because the more you expose to them and show them as like superstar type players, like you come in and you show them like, their lifestyle, and they're doing all these cool things because they're high level athletes. They get invited to all these really cool events. They put up all these big numbers, and they're recording every single second. So and so dunks on a random guy, steps over him and looks back at him, and now he's viral, and everybody thinks he's a 4-5-star player, and he might not be, but since he has all these clicks and everybody thinks he's really good, someone's going to look at him, and maybe that guy got a chance he didn't get before.
That's right. And we can talk about that all we want to, like, oh, he was a bust or whatever, but we don't know his situations. Maybe that right there changed, the whole landscape for that kid and his family. I love that. Now, tell me about the earnings. It says, the earnings for elite scholastic athletes, man. I don't even have an opinion on that yet. I just want you to pour into me on that one, because I like that title. It hooked me.
So what they do is, my research is based off of a company called Athletic U.
Okay.
So what they did was they estimated they took the number of followers and likes and just overall views and impressions that they get on their content.
Right.
And they would convert it back as if it were like ad revenue.
Dang. And how long has this been going down?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that's one of those behind the scene things that I had no clue about. But the way you broke it down, it seems like, oh, duh. Now, what's the new JUCO? You know?
So that one's interesting. That's probably my most polarizing article that I
Okay.
have. Because that could definitely be taken the wrong way. You could definitely look at me and say, I don't know what I'm talking about. But in my opinion, I looked at the transfer portal.
All right.
Okay, I looked at all the guys that were transferring and where they were going to.
Mm-hmm. Transferring from junior college or into?
Well, transferring from
Okay.
low to mid to high major.
Ah.
And that's where the new comes from, because I feel like now more than ever, because it's becoming easier to get guys cleared to play after their first transfer or whatever it may be. They can play the very next year. It's easier now more than ever. And the NCAA should be voting on that rule actually pretty soon here. But that it's almost like low mid-major is a farm for high major. It's like they watch these guys develop and they snatch them up, because it used to be the grad transfer thing, where those guys would develop and then another school would snatch them up and get a lot of the credit for that, because when those guys go to the NBA, they have that other school on them instead of them.
Right.
And it's I feel like it's a lot like that.
That's a good point, because I can remember there was a time where once you went to any level below Division I, unless it was junior college right out of high school, then you couldn't move up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm guessing, and I could be misspeaking, but to some degree, that's changed. Maybe some loopholes have been found, similar to what you were just breaking down to me. Now, what is, better yet, from your vantage point, because obviously you're a manager on Oklahoma State basketball staff. From what you've seen, do you all have more 4-year guys or more junior college transfers in your program currently?
We have a load of 4-year guys.
Really?
Yeah,
Program guys, huh?
We brought in, I wouldn't say 4-year guys, more of guys that come expecting to stay, but like expecting that they might have to put the work in. So I think that does well for us in the way that their approach is. You know, they play hard every game and they compete to win, but if they're having a bad time, they're always optimistic because they know that they're young and they'll be back.
That's really refreshing to hear, man, because I kick this around with a lot of the guys in my circle. It seems sort of a lost art to actually plant some seeds and give your work some time to actually prosper for you, as opposed to, the instant gratification. Like, hey, if it's not working out right here, right now, let's move on to something else and see if I can get it popping at somewhere else. But the grass is not always as green on the other side. I just think sometimes if we stay put for a little while and just keep putting in that work, something will pay off for you. Now, moving away from the basketball space, how's college life been for you, my man? Just, you being a little bit more independent. You're not necessarily able to see mom and dad every single day. How has that evolution been for you, turning into a boy into a young man?
They'll be happy to hear that I do clean my room on occasion nowadays.
On occasion, huh?
On occasion.
Okay.
On occasion. I always make sure it's clean whenever they come to see me, though, so they think that I'm just like...
There you go.
But my mom knows now that I've been home, that it's not always clean.
Not always clean. Now, you by yourself or you got a roommate when you're on campus?
I have a roommate. Yeah. Yes, sir. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. I'm able to move and maneuver how I want to for the most part. Until they call me and tell me to come to the gym.
There you go. So you're free with conditions.
Yes, sir.
Conditionally free. Now, about the COVID, okay? Where were you and what were you doing whenever everything just hit? Do you remember?
I was watching a movie with my friends.
Man, were you at the movies?
No, I was at my friend's house, and they said if no groups of 10 or more, everything is shut down. And we looked around, and there was only 3 of us, and we were like, "Oh no, we're good. There's only 3 of us," and we kept watching the movie.
Yeah. Did you think we were overreacting in the beginning? I know I did. I got to be honest, because this is something unlike anything we've ever seen. So I'm thinking, okay, we got one corporation shutting it down. I'm like, this is just trendy. It's a domino effect, but it'll blow over. Like, what'd you think?
Well, I'm a big history guy. I wanted to be a history major.
Okay.
Whenever I first decided, I was like, oh, I want to go to college and study history.
All right.
You know? So, having studied the history of pandemics and things of that matter, germs are scary.
Are you a germaphobe?
Not in a germophobic way, but
okay.
in like a in a sort of let me put it like this. You ever had do you have kids?
I don't. I'm still watching the game from the sideline.
Have you ever seen someone who is like messing with glitter?
Yes.
And they have glitter on their face, and then no matter how many times I take a shower, after like a week and it's still there,
you can still see it shining, right?
That's like how germs are, but it's like everywhere.
That might be the most accurate description of it I've ever heard. Because I just saw somebody 20 minutes ago with glitter on their face after washing it with water and soap and all of that.
Right?
Okay. So, but you still wouldn't consider yourself a germaphobe? You're not super...
I would not consider myself a germaphobe.
Okay.
I just know that I just gotta be hygienic, and I mean, if I get sick, I would like to say I'm not the most at fault.
I hear you. I feel that. Are you somebody that's anti-meds, where you try to tough it out?
Yeah, I really don't like medicine, honestly.
I feel like that might be a guy thing, man. Because I feel
it really
you know
is.
What I mean?
It really is. I really feel like it is.
I'm always trying to test my pain tolerance to see how much I can deal with it. Unless I get a headache, I'm a big baby with that. I need my Excedrin. I got to get rid of it, man. Got to get rid of it. Now, has your lifestyle changed at all under these conditions? Have you made like super big precautions or adjustments during the COVID? Like, are you masked up everywhere you go? Are you gloved up everywhere you go? Or is it pretty much, business as usual for you?
I only go to like 3 places.
Yeah.
And all of them are private residences.
Right.
So, no, not really.
Yeah.
I just kind of like go where I need to go, go back home. Next day, do it again.
Next day, do it again. Now you're at home now. You with the parentals now, right?
Yes, sir.
Which is a little bit different than what would normally be happening around this time. It's a little sooner. Was that an adjustment? Like, man, having to pick up and get off campus months in advance and then go back home.
Yeah, we were on spring break.
Yes,
I didn't go anywhere.
True.
I was scared. I was scared to go anywhere. I saw everybody go places, and I was no, I'm good.
Smart move.
So I'm at home, and they tell us we're going to be online for 2 weeks after we come back. I'm like,
right.
Okay, cool. So we're on the first week of online, and it's like 3 days in. And they're like, online rest of the semester. And I left almost all my stuff at school because I'm like, I'll just be back.
Right.
I'll just be here for like 2 extra weeks.
Yeah.
Like no big deal. And I'm like, all this is not going to fit in anyone's car. And then I was mad.
Yeah, man.
Then I was upset.
Golly. Got to go back and go get some of it. Do you still have some stuff left on campus?
I got it all out. I left some things. Some things I was like, I don't really need it.
Okay. I like that. Now, I'm the worst at that. My mom gets on my butt all the time. If I'm moving, some stuff just won't make it. I'll just toss it. I'll determine in my mind, I can replace that. And she's like, you need to stop doing that. So you're probably right, Mom. But let me do this my way. All right. Now, what's your major? That's one thing that I wanted to get out of you, man. Well, what's the ultimate goal once you finish your academic experience? What do you hope to be into?
My major is coaching science. So I would like to be in coaching or, player development or athletic training or anything of that matter.
There you go. You got to stay close to the game, huh?
Yes, sir.
I like that. Got a couple more things I want to throw at you. Now, I want you to let me know all that is under the umbrella of Gym Time Hoops. Okay, because I don't want to limit it at all. Because I can remember I've known your dad for quite some time, and I can remember when Gym Time Hoops first hit the scene. They were everywhere. You know what I mean? They were throwing the majority of the tournaments on those weekends in Tulsa. There was always someplace. So there were always games to be played and, opportunities for those youngsters, boys and girls, to play ball. And that's all kids want to do.
Yes,
but I can see that you all have morphed into something even bigger than basketball. So what all is under that umbrella?
Tournaments, teams.
I noticed that your articles are on the website. I'm like, oh, damn. Okay.
Right.
So they're official.
I'm on there.
There you go.
rankings,
rankings.
notifications, like updates, just about basketball in general, like updates on teams that are on different teams that are making noise.
Is it throughout the state or is it beyond?
Throughout the state for the most part.
Okay.
Throughout the state for the most part.
That's good. And we need stuff like that, especially for a sports junkie like myself. You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean? I'm always needing to know what's really going down. And I would imagine with the whole pandemic stuff, a lot of you guys' plans that y'all had originally in line sort of got ruptured a little bit or sort of got backed up.
Just a little bit.
Is there like a tentative finish line? Meaning, do you guys hope to be up and running by such and such date to where you can kind of get back to doing some of the normal things?
I think he wants to start ASAP, probably.
Heck yeah. And we know the summer's approaching, so I know he's gonna keep me posted on those things. But from on a personal note, okay, and this is always, I usually end with a certain segment, and I want to throw this at you. If you can think back to it, I want you to give me some of the best and some of the worst advice you've ever received. All right. And here's what I mean, because I know sometimes people mean well. They'll give us some game, something that they think we can utilize, and it sounds good. But then sometimes we try to put it to use, and it's like, ooh, that was wrong. And then on the flip side, somebody might give us something to use, and we think it's garbage, but then we implement it, and it works.
Right.
You know what I mean? Have you ever had any of those experiences yet?
Well, when I went to college, someone told me, you don't have to study. Quizlet exists.
That's pretty good, because that's true. It does exist.
My first psychology test told me something different.
So you went all in and tried to bet Quizlet.
So there's my moment of shame. I failed my first psychology test right there.
How bad was it, man? How bad did you bomb it?
I don't want to talk about it.
I feel it. I don't want to snatch the Band-Aid off.
It was rough. It was rough.
Okay, what about that best? Maybe you knew it was good advice from the jump, or maybe you didn't, and then you learned later on that it was pretty good.
I gotta word this right?
Mm-hmm. Take your time, Chief. And this is how you know. Why are you thinking? Let me tell you something. This is how I know we're always harder on ourselves than anybody else can be on us. Because you see how you went to the bad stuff immediately.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And now it's the good stuff. It takes a minute to get to it. But I know you've had more good moments than you've had the bad ones. You know what I'm saying? But here's one thing I'll say to you, man. And I don't want to get too mushy, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Anytime I see a young African American man like yourself, you know what I mean, very well read, very, very well versed and well spoken, knowing exactly what it is you want to do, and you're doing it, man. So I'm a fan of that.
Thank you.
So what I want you to do, I want you to make sure that all your articles that you write and any pieces that you put out, send to me. All right, I'm gonna read them and I'm gonna share them, and we're gonna make sure that we shine as much of a light on you and Gym Time Hoops and the organization that you pops put together as we possibly can.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I love it.
I appreciate you coming down here to Oklahoma City from Tulsa, and we made it happen on the podcast.
Yes, sir.